Welcome back to Empowerment Radio. We talk about mindfulness and how to empower yourself through practices in this regard. And one of those that Melissa just talked about was food, or that I wanted to talk about is food and the importance of paying attention to food as a part of your daily practice. So tell us a little bit more about what what role food plays in those simple practices.
Yeah, this is such a great one. And I think there are a lot of feelings around food for people because it's hard to imagine, or it's sometimes hard to get into the mentality of seeing food as fuel for the body, because like we've talked about before the break, so many of us operate in disconnect with our body. So the idea of food fueling something that you're disconnected to kind of seem like a faraway kind of prospect or idea. But if you can get into the habit of being very aware when you are both preparing your food and consuming it, that is a great gateway for cultivating a healthier, kinder, softer relationship with your body, with your physical self, and with other kind of facets of yourself. And so you brought up the idea of eating breakfast. And this is one that I'm big on. I think lunch is another, I mean, three square meals a day or 6 small meals a day, I think make a big difference, because obviously breakfast, you have not consumed any food for a significant amount of time while you've been resting. Exactly. So you need to break the fast. And even mentally, it can go such a long way. That I think has been one of the biggest observations in my life, because I actually sit down in the morning, and even if it's a piece of toast with peanut butter, right? Even that, you're taking 5 minutes from the time you put the toast in the toaster to by the time you've sat down and consumed it. You're taking 5 minutes in your morning to just sit with yourself. Maybe you're setting an intention for your day. Maybe you're, creating a quick gratitude journal practice. Maybe you're just thinking about what you want to accomplish that day, or something that you appreciated from the day before. It's just, it creates this space, this window in your morning at the top of the day, the beginning of the day, for you to set the tone for the next 12 hours. And that can be incredibly powerful, right? Rather than just eating on the drive to work and you're already stressed and you're in a hurry, right? It's just a little bit of breathing room in your day. And I think a big part of why I included that in the book was because in a lot of my previous jobs in, related to social work, but also in entrepreneurship and kind of being on the go for many years, I was just used to eating lunch in the car as I'm driving from here to there, or just picking up whatever is quick and easy. And that's one of the reasons I love farming, I love gardening, is because you're cultivating a relationship with the food that you're consuming, and therefore you're cultivating a relationship with your body and recognizing your needs as a human, and not treating yourself like, a machine that just needs to be on the go all the time.
It's really important to realize that our body in itself, we have to see it as a separate entity in order to understand that we have a responsibility to take care of it. Often I talk about the body as like your horse, and you're riding with your horse through your life, and well, you have to water it, you have to feed it, you have to rest it, you have to take care of it. And even though the mind-body connection is something I believe in, but that mingles then body and mind so together that we are kind of treating our body like we are treating our mind, and just expecting it to always work. So just seeing a little separation, and like you said, also making sure that you really are listening to your body's needs. A lot of people that I work with that come with anxiety tell me, I never have breakfast. I rather be 10 minutes more in bed. And then they rush through the day, and just starting already in the morning with a lot of stress. And that not eating and starting the day in stress their low blood sugar, that already release of adrenaline in their system, that sets the whole day up for anxiety. And just as you mentioned, having 10 minutes, sitting down, setting your intention, this calm way of being can really change your entire outlook on your day. And it's a very powerful tool. But what do you feel about food and also really being more mindful as you're eating it, letting your senses more be connected to the flavor and the texture, and maybe add a little sprinkle of appreciation to it.
Totally. I think I think that goes a long way. I mean, you hear of people who recommend a certain number of chews right before you swallow. Chew your food 10, 20
Right.
times, right? So that it's easier for your body to digest, but also so that you're aware that you're eating, the stir fry or whatever it is, versus just you look down and the plate is empty and you feel full, but you don't really know what happened in the meantime. And I recognize that it's not always possible to grow your garden, to then harvest and then eat that food, and to take 20 chews for each carrot. And like, I understand that people are busy. We grocery shop, and there's not always like a clear causal correlation or relationship between your body and everything you eat,
Hmm.
because you're
Hmm.
not farming it directly. But that doesn't mean that you can't create a connection or an awareness, right? An intention with when you're eating. So, I mean, small adjustments. If you don't, you just try to eat a little bit slower. Just sit down and note the time that you're sitting down to eat, and then say, okay, I'm going to be here from 6 o'clock until 6:20. And just having that in your awareness means that you're like, okay, I'm here until 6:20, so I'm going to eat a little bit slower. I'm not going to be watching TV or on my phone or whatever it might be while I'm eating. I think that's a big one. No
Yes.
phones, like no phones at the table. Eat at the same time as your family if and when possible. Try to make it a communal event almost.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
mean, in different cultures, sometimes you're eating dinner for 3 hours and it's a big event. And we do that in special occasions, right? When there's something to celebrate. But why not do it on a Monday evening? Why not make Monday a special occasion when it's already a hard day? Let's say you're working a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday and you really dread Mondays. Why not make sure that you're making a family meal gathering on Monday evenings or Sunday evenings, and just try to make the the ordinary stuff a little bit more special.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, here in France, especially in the countryside, lunch is sacred. So you will not be able to get anyone do anything between noon and 2 o'clock, because that's 2 hours lunch. And I just love that. They take their time. And it's not that they're eating a lot, it's just they eat slow, they talk, they just, have a coffee afterwards. It's a different pace of life. And I think it's maybe not as productive, we could argue, but it's definitely more fulfilling, because you're just more present with your family, with your friends, than when you're just rushing through it and try to get everything done. And it's never everything done anyhow, so this is kind of the big illusion. But talking about nourishment, because I know we always have a little time crunch here, uh, you also have a nourish your soul day. So what do you do to nourish your soul?
Well, I think it's important, again, to cultivate that awareness with yourself, to find, like I say, integrate a little bit of specialness into the ordinary. And I think with that comes that self-nourishment, that part of you that is deep within, that is, I don't know, your essence, your soul, whatever term resonates with you, the part of you that is inherently you. And I think it's important, and I've found it's incredibly transformative, to find ways to integrate into your day, or at least your week, some activities that you find deep nourishment and fulfillment from and with. And rather than or in addition to fulfilling your roles and your responsibilities to other people, which we often and often rightly so put first.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to come back to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is essential to living a fulfilling life. And so drawing a connection between, this is going to surprise people, nourishing your soul and being productive, because I think that productivity is less about making the little things more efficient and actually doing, maximizing, um, knowing and maximizing what's most effective, what's going to bring the best, biggest results, the meaningful results, the stuff that is fulfilling in your work, in your business, as a person, right, in your existence, is the stuff that nourishes your soul and nourishes other people. And so if we can actually get out of this funnel idea, sticking to the bottom of, oh, there's so much I need to do and I'm just going to run around all the time ticking off all the boxes on my to-do list, and we just zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture of, why am I doing this? Is this actually important? Is this as important as the value that I've placed on it? What is the result of this going to be, both, let's say in your business or for yourself as a person? If you can operate more on that big picture and check in with yourself and know, okay, I'm sitting here to, write this email to you about this interview because part of what nourishes my soul is having meaningful conversations and sharing my insights and experiences with other people through dialogue and learning from them. So if you can kind of zoom out and see, it's not just an administrative email, it's actually leading to a result that's going to nourish me, nourish you, nourish, thousands of people, whoever is watching and listening. That brings so much purpose and so much nourishment and fulfillment into your day, into your tasks, into, your life and your heart, that mental switch is just so incredibly powerful. I really, really strongly encourage people to start thinking more of the big picture priorities and knowing what you value, what fulfills you as a person. And when you have those core values and they seep into, they're integrated into your everyday life, that will totally change the way you work and live.
I think it's a really wonderful suggestion to zoom out and get a different frame. And I feel like, sometimes I talk to mothers that feel completely overwhelmed by the day to day of their three children, and exactly that zooming out and remembering the love and the reason why you want to give to your children, and seeing their little beings as just something you feel in itself a purpose in to take care of. That changes the focus on the details, the minutia that just feels too much, too overwhelming, too the same all the time. So yes, stepping back and seeing, yeah, I'm in alignment with taking care of those that I love, or I'm in alignment with writing this email because I like to connect and share, or I'm in alignment with, doing something very simple, but I feel like I'm touching people's life in a positive way. And so this is, but you have to really also just shift away from looking at what you do to asking yourself why you do it. And that why makes a lot of difference. Uh, and before we end the show, I want to hear, Melissa, how do people tell the listeners how they can find you and what they can, find on your website and how they may be able to work with you?
Fantastic. So please come visit my digital space. Reach out to me at melissasteignus.com. So melissasteignus.com. If you go to the mindful page, there's free resources that will help you cultivate mindfulness, all about the book, workbooks. There's plenty of information about upcoming courses, online events, different ways to contact me there through social media, when I'm active on social media. And you can learn more about the work that I do in mindfulness, in what I call intentional productivity. So what we've talked about, focusing on that those big picture priorities, and then, letting your work funnel in from there. So please reach out to me there. I love to hear from people. I love to have conversations like this, even if it's via email. I'm happy to share what I know, and to work with others.
Thank you. Well, the last of those 108 tools or practices was about shining your light. And I just love the concept. So tell us a little bit more about this shine your light practice.
I think that it's a beautiful term. It's kind of a deep personal goal, I suppose, if that's the word, or intention. Is just, I want to be bright and light for others. I want to carry myself with lightness. And I think when you shine your light, which often can feel a little bit daunting when there's a lot that you feel you're capable of, that you're interested in, but you're
Mhm.
not so sure how others will respond to it, just remember, it's so incredibly empowering for yourself and for the people around you when you are living what lights you up. And so
Mhm.
that is the note that I wanted to end on in the book. That's, what I want my life to reflect. And really that's a goal and intention that I have for other people is, don't be afraid to shine your light, or be afraid, but do it anyway. Live in what makes you feel aligned, what feels true for you, and what lights you up, because that is what the world needs. That is what the people in your life need, and we're ready to receive it.
So, what has lit you up recently?
I am currently integrating mindfulness practices in some work that I'm doing in the medical field. And that has really lit me up in the sense that I'm working with people through really transformative but also really challenging situations. And
Mm.
whether they're in an acute recovery stage, or where it's been perhaps a chronic condition, being able to discuss with people, to equip them with tools and practices that are simple, that are doable, right? Breath, you're breathing every day. Just integrating that awareness and intention, and watching people experience and create for themselves their own transformation with a very simple practice. It's beyond words.
Making a difference, and especially making a difference with that, what makes you also feel purposeful and passionate at the same time. Well, is there any message that you would love to leave the listeners with?
I think an important thing to remember is that the transformation will come. Do what feels good for you, what feels right for you. Embrace the play and the experimentation
Mm.
of finding what works for you, and just embrace that it will take time. It will involve, your energy investment, but the transformation will come, and chances are it will come faster than you think.
Thank you. That's very hopeful. And I thank you for this amazing work and the light that you shine into the world and the teachings that you're sharing. And take your time. So, this book is really something that you don't want to read in one sitting and then say, okay, I got all the tools, but I didn't practice anything. So it's not one of those. So you want to really go page by page, exercise by exercise, integrate. Maybe you want to stay even longer with some exercise because you really feel like, oh, wow, that challenges me, that gets me out of my comfort zone. Well, excellent. I want to be out of my comfort zone, and then work through it. I can imagine that this book may take a whole year to work through, or even longer. But as Melissa said, you will feel that transformation and that sense of being a new self in that step by step way. We often want to just have that transformation happening in a weekend seminar, and it's all wonderful and great. But unfortunately, on Monday or Tuesday, we're just back in our routines, in our old way of living, and it hasn't really firmly integrated. It hasn't really solidified what we got from maybe some great ideas and some wonderful, ways of stimulating us or making us think differently. But unless we have really tools that we are using every day, our changes will just come and go. So that's one of the gifts about this book. I find that it gives you small, doable, but also very effective ways to go deeper and deeper into the relationship with yourself and the relationship with your life. So thanks, Melissa, for that. And I wish you all the best on your journey. And
Thank you
maybe
so
we can all
much.
talk again.
Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate being here.
Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.